What is up, everyone? We are live from the Strip in Las Vegas. Just landed, just got to the hotel room. Wanted to cut a quick video for you guys each day since I'm not able to do the full playbook. So I'm out here because the game starts so early. Wanted to cut a quick video each night, kind of previewing the games for the next day. So these are the games for Thursday, March, 9th. Bunch of games. We got 3 big slates. I was able to register before I left, so it's awesome. I'll be in all the contests, which is sweet. Didn't get my Draftkings account closed when I opened it back up, so everything's looking up. A couple tough slates today. We started off nice with that Wake game, and then some poor decisions. Saw Ncaa get an early foul trouble, but the games tomorrow should be great. Let's dive right in because I want this to be fairly quick. First game on the slate, St. John's at Marquette. We just saw these two teams play on Saturday. Marquette beat them 96-94 in a real thriller. Ken Palm's got this Marquette 85-76. Prices on St. John's haven't really moved much. We saw Curbelo and Pinzone both miss today. Assume they miss tomorrow. Encouraging sign for AJ Storr. He played 30 minutes today. That was, something that I was interested in seeing since he only played limited minutes in the game before. So good to see for Storr. Storr is very in play at 4-7. Adaiwusu's coming off back-to-back good games. He crushed Marquette last Saturday. So I think Storr and DAW are my favorite plays here. Posh coming off a great game, played a ton of minutes. So yeah, I think this is a good game stack game. Obviously we just saw it go 96-94. So like Posh, like Storr, like Adaiwusu, and then Soriano at 9-2. Just kind of the way, I was clicking through the slate. I think we have plenty of really, really solid value. So very viable to go stars and scrubs. And there's a bunch of good plays in the 9K range. Over on the Marquette side, Kolek, great play again, 9-4, doubled with assists against this St. John's team on Saturday. Oso, Cam Jones, both playing big minutes again. Cam Jones had a big game also against St. John's. I think I would keep it to those 3. We've seen Stevie Mitchell's price kind of get away from us here at 5K. So no longer a priority like he was on Saturday when he was 3-8. So on the Marquette side, probably just the studs. Kolek, I would rank him Kolek, Cam Jones, and then Iguodaro. So really good game to start us off. That's at noon Eastern. We've got 3 games at noon. The next one, Wake, Miami. Wake, man, all those pieces got there for us today. Appleby, Clintman, and Davian Williamson. Really encouraging to see his minutes stick, in the high 30s. So I think he's a priority value play tomorrow at 4-5. If he's playing 35 plus minutes, great game environment here off the jump. I think he's going to project really well. Clintman, tougher matchup here. Omir could get him in foul trouble. So, I was all over him today, but might back off at him here. Really encouraging to see Hildreth play minutes into the 30s today. I think that he's interesting at 6'4", gonna project well if you give him the minutes that he got today. So, he had that big lull throughout basically all of February, but I think that, if he's back, he's an interesting, probably like a contrarian play there in the mid-range at 6'4" for Hildreth. And then Appleby, they keep raising his price and he keeps paying off. He's at 10K here. Just a Mondo price, but he's playing every single minute. He doesn't come off the court. Ken Palm's got this game, Miami 83-78. So yeah, like a total around 160. Appleby's going to continue to be a really solid play, and we have plenty of value. Let me turn my sound off on my phone to afford him on this slate. So I'm in on him. Miami side, Omir at 8.5, price is down a bit. The only issue with him is that, you're not getting mid-30s minutes, but he's so damn efficient within them, and he played well against Wake when they played recently. So no issue with him at 8.5. I think he's a really good play. Jordan Miller at 8.3. Man, he's priced a little close to Omir here. I think he's going to project well. I think I would just rather take the ceiling shot on Omir, though, because I think Omir's got more 40-plus games in him than Miller does, although Miller probably a good play here regardless. Wong always live in tournaments. Same with Nigel Pack. Miami really condensed their minutes around those 4 guys down the stretch. And then the 5th guy, Wooga Popular at 5K, been playing mid-20s, creeping up towards the high 20s. So I think he's an interesting play there at 5K. Really, really good game environment, 83 team total. So I would not fault anyone for playing a starter from Miami here. Rutgers, Michigan, first Big Ten game here. Ken Palm's got this Michigan 67-66. First bet of the day when I landed was Rutgers +3. So I'm on Rutgers' side here. This is basically an elimination game for both teams. Really, really good game to start us off here at 9 a.m. Eastern local time out here in Vegas. As for DFS, Big Cliff, man, he ended the season really, really well. Cliff versus Dickinson here is going to be the matchup to watch, obviously. Both priced right around 9K. Dickinson just smashed down the stretch. I think they played 3 straight overtime games to end the season. Cam Spencer's in play. Caleb McConnell is a good price. I think there's only 3 I'd be interested in. Spencer, I didn't really play much this season, and he just keeps getting there right around that 7K range. So don't mind him or McConnell if you end up there. I think my priority is going to be jamming the good value and getting these studs who can give you the 40+ games. So like Cliff is in that mix, but probably not a priority. Contrarian spend, I'd say. Dickinson, 9-1, playing every minute. The really encouraging thing for him is the rebound rate is shot way up. I think 4 straight double-doubles to end the season. So love him here at 9-1. Buffkin at 7-3. Just keep smashing at that price. I think I prefer Buffkin to Cam Spencer. And then Jet and Doug. I mean, they're playing the whole game. So, we're getting down to the stretch here. Obviously in the conference tournaments, 35+ minutes for all 4 of those guys. So Jet is going to shoot a lot. He's going to play no defense. And if the shots are falling, I think he'll do well here. He's just like a qualifier type of play because, if the shots are not falling, he's going to sink your lineups there. I don't mind Doug. I don't usually get to him. I always mention him because he plays the whole game. He's probably safe to get you, 20 to 26. He's not going to hurt your lineups at 5'8". I think he's a nice last man in type of play. First Big 12 game here. This was at 12:30 Eastern, kind of a weird start time, but it's Iowa State Baylor. Iowa State beat Baylor both times this season pretty handily. I saw this game opened up Baylor -4.5. I'm not touching this bets wise. Actually, let me pull up the odds as I'm going through here. But yeah, I know it's 4.5. The Ken Palm's got a Baylor 69-68. The big news here with Caleb Grill dismissed from the team is Trey King playing a ton of minutes at the 4 for Iowa State. We tried to use him when Caleb Grill was out earlier in the season. I guess it was right after Christmas maybe. Didn't really come through for us, but I think this is a spot to use him here at 3.5. You get the pace up. If he gets 20+ minutes here, he could really, really crush for that 3.5 price tag. So Trey King, my favorite play for Iowa State. Holmes and Lipsy have been and Kalsher have basically been the same price for a couple weeks now. I prefer Lipsy just because of the peripheral upside. I think he's a good player and a guy that we're going to be playing for a couple of years here, but not really a priority. And I don't really want to play 2 Iowa State guys on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 game slate. So yeah, it's probably Trey King, and then those other guys are ancillary plays. If you're playing multiple lineups type of guy. On the Baylor side, Flagler and Keontae George, just really, really tough matchup here. Probably won't get to them. We'll see if they move on. I think they would play Kansas, which would be a much better pace matchup for them. Iowa State's just nails defensively. So probably if I'm playing anyone in Baylor, it's probably Dale Bonner playing 20, 25 minutes lately at 3.6. Going to project well and kind of fits the style that I want to play on this slate, which is going to be stars and scrubs. So toss Dale Bonner into the scrubs pile as far as a guy that we're heavily considering in our lineups here. Let's move on. We got our first SEC game, Mississippi State at Florida. Must win for Mississippi State. And obviously it's not at Florida. It's the SEC tournament. I misspoke there. This is going to be a low-scoring, grinding game. Ken Palm's got it, Mississippi State 64-63. If they're only 1-point favorites when I get back downstairs, I'm probably going to bet Mississippi State. I was trying to pull it up here. Trying to do a bunch of things at once and get this out for you guys. Yeah, they're minus 3.5. That makes more sense. Probably won't fire over a possession. This is probably going to be a live bet game for me here. Like if Mississippi State goes down early, I'll probably try to hop in live on them. On the DFS side, man, tough to get to anyone. This Sean Jones guy's been playing a bit for Mississippi State, but I don't really trust that the minutes are sticky at 3-2. Plus, I think we have some solid, trustable values here. And on the Florida side, we've been playing guys like Kugel, Lofton, Richard since Castleton went out, but like their prices are bumped up now. They're no longer just screaming values. I think this game just might be a full cross-off for me. Providence, UConn. Hell yeah, this is going to be an awesome game at the Garden. These teams fucking hate each other. I love Providence in this tournament. I think if they get past UConn, I think they can win it all. I took Providence +7, I think it was. Yeah, they're +7. So I'm on Providence here. Betting-wise, DFS-wise, kind of tough to get to these prices. We've been talking about it for a week plus. Providence has been – like their guys have been so good, especially in the spots where they should crush, like the pace-up spots against the weaker Big East defenses that I think they're just tough to get to. Like Croswell's over 8K now. Carter's 7.6, probably my favorite play here. And then Bynum kind of let us down the stretch last weekend, I think it was, or it might have been during the week. But his minutes haven't been as sticky as I thought they would. So probably Devin Carter a pass here, just because UConn's so good defensively. Ken Palm's got Providence scoring 71 points here. So good spot for UConn with a 78 team total. That also kind of illustrates why it's so hard to get to guys on, Miss State or Florida when their team totals are 64, 63. Iowa State and Baylor both under 70 when, we've only talked about 5 or 6 games here. And there's been a bunch of teams in the 70s and some in the 80s. So be mindful that when you're building, especially for ceiling on such a huge slate, that scores are going to be high. So probably not going to be playing too many of the floor type plays. On the UConn side, Sonogo 8.6. They kind of pampered him down the stretch. Klingon's been playing really well, and they haven't really been fully pushed. So, like, down the stretch, 24, 28, 26, 23, and 26 minutes for Sonogo. But that's with, like, a bunch of blowouts. I think if Providence pushes them here, Sonogo is really interesting for tournaments. This is the time to let him go and play that 32 minutes. He's been clearing 30 in most games, just playing mid-20s minutes. I bet, like, if you put him at 30 minutes – in an optimizer or like 32, he'll project pretty well. So I like Sonogo as a contrarian spend here. I think this is the time where they ramp him up. I do think Providence pushes them. Close game here, which would help him a ton because, as we saw with Nova today, if teams are blowing others out, especially early in these tournaments, they're going to take the time to sit guys late. I actually meant to mention it earlier. My only concern with the Marquette studs is that they just shit kick St. John's, and sit their guys the last couple of minutes. But if they don't, they're going to score 90 and they're going to crush. So back to UConn. I like the price on Newton here. 7-2 has shown some big time ceiling games throughout the season. Not the most consistent guy, just because good teams have multiple guys who can carry them. We've talked about that with Creighton all year. Baylor last year is a good example. But I think Newton's good for 33, 35 minutes here with upside for 40 plus for a 7K tag. So he's a guy that I think probably gets lost in the shuffle on the slate that I probably like more than most. Then Andre Jackson, awesome to see him playing well down the stretch. The minutes are back. The peripherals are good. If he mixes scoring with the peripherals, that's when the ceiling comes. So Jackson, probably not a priority play at 6'5", but love him as like a last man in. I'm liking these UConn guys more than the projections do right now, so keep that in mind for tomorrow. Let's go to Pitt against Duke. Pitt got a scare from Georgia Tech today. Probably a look-ahead spot. This is a huge game against Duke. I think Pitt plays well. I was hoping that number would open. So it opened at 4. I think I put in the Discord that I liked Pitt here, but I wanted to wait. It's out to 6. So I'll probably at least half unit Pitt there at +6. I think Pitt plays well. Duke, the favorite to win this ACC tournament, but I like Pitt. I like Miami, and I really like NC State in this tournament. But for DFS, I think Pitt's kind of priced out. Hinson, Burton at 8K. You're really close to these 9K guys that have like just massive ceilings. Duke, good defensively. What's the total on this game? Total's 141. So not the highest total. Pitt themselves with the team total under 70 here. I think this game might actually go under the total too. On the Duke side, probably a full pass for me at these prices. I guess Filipowski, you can toss him in that stud bin. I actually just put my core up right before. It's going to be the values that I like, and then just rotating these studs. So maybe in the morning I'll have more conviction on which studs I really prefer, but I do like most of them. So so it's him. Mark Mitchell at 6K is all right. Playing big minutes, like mid-30s lately. I'm not sure if that is completely sticky just because Whitehead's only been playing mid-teens. So I could see Whitehead eating into Mitchell, and if that's the case, like his projection becomes fragile pretty quickly. So probably Filipowski for or pass for me in this entire game. I just realized that like my face is super close to the thing. Whatever. I've got like the smallest spot imaginable to work with, but we're getting it done. Ohio State, Iowa. This line opened up weird to me. Iowa -1.5. I'm jumping on that the second I get downstairs. Ohio State blows out a shitty Wisconsin team today. I think Iowa plays well against them. Ken Palm's got Iowa 81-79, so definitely a game to pay attention to for DFS here. On the Ohio State side, let me check. I was on the flight during the Ohio State game today. 29 minutes for Sensabaugh. So, that's encouraging. So it's 30 and 29 in the last 2 games. That's when the ceiling is unlocked, is when he's able to hit that 30-ish minute mark. So, like if he plays 29 or 30, I think he's going to project it really, really well. He's under 8K again. Like him here. Probably not playing Suing at 7-2. Bruce Thornton had just a massive first half. I caught the first half before I had to board. Playing huge minutes lately. Let me pull up Thornton. 34, 37, 34, 34, 33, 38. So really, really relying on the point guard for huge minutes down the stretch. He's at 5'4". So I trust him. I like that price point for Bruce Thornton at 5'4". Akpara, put in the playbook today that the minutes have been volatile. I think it's kind of a matchup thing for him. I'm not exactly sure here, but so he's played 31, 17, and 31 the last 3 games, and he's cut out the fouls. So I think Akpara is interesting, man. Like if he plays high 20s, he's going to absolutely smash this matchup. So add him to the list of really, really good value plays. And then you got McNeil and Ice Likely. Not super intrigued with them. Would probably rather take an upside swing on Okpara. Like McNeil's gonna have to hit a ton of threes. Ice doesn't do a lot while he's out there, and I think the minutes are a bit flimsy. They're gonna project well though, because it's a high total. So let's go to the Iowa side. Chris Murray 9-7. He's earned it. He's been awesome down the stretch. No issue using Chris Murray here at 9-7. Definitely in consideration for main lineup. Didn't have like the 40 plus against Ohio State this year. Had 36 and 37 the 2 games, but the shot rate way up down the stretch. 19, 16, and 22 shot attempts in the last 3 games. This game's to have pace. He get block and steal upside for Chris Murray, and I could see 40 plus and him playing well here and Iowa moving on. Outside of him, Rabracha played really well down the stretch. The minutes are going to be there if he doesn't foul. So that's 7-4. I think he's a decent play. I just don't know. Who do we talk about at 7-2? Like him versus like a Newton or a guy that we'll talk about soon, Vescovy, is interesting, And then the only other guy I think in play for Iowa at these prices, like Perkins is priced out. I think Pat McCaffrey's interesting at 4-6. We just saw him pop up for a big game. He was away from the team for a bit, has been back for a couple games now playing, 18 to 25 minutes. I don't think he's the safest play, but I think he's definitely interesting. Maybe if you're down early and you need to pivot or you're building a bunch of teams, I think he should be in the pool as like an intriguing guy, but definitely riskier than the other values that I've discussed. West Virginia, wow, what a performance tonight. I talked about how I liked Kedrian and Trey Mitchell and then didn't play either of them, and they both crushed. So that's great. They never really project well in the 6Ks just because they're a bit volatile. But this is another high-scoring game. Kansas 76-74 is the projection. I'll bet you that the spread is wider than that. Kansas -3. So West Virginia played awesome basketball down the stretch. They're up to 16th at KenPom. So lots of respect for West Virginia coming in here. Eric Stevenson, lights out down the stretch. Kedrian, Trey Mitchell, that's like the 3-headed monster. Fine with Kedrian or Trey Mitchell. I'm not playing Eric Stevenson at 9K, but I don't think any are priority plays. Kansas side, Jalen Wilson at 9-3, awesome play, obviously. Coming off the really, really good game at Texas, even though they lost. He had over 40 DK and they scored under 60 points. He didn't play well against West Virginia at home a couple weeks ago, but I'm not really all that concerned about that. Played well against them earlier in the season. He's got upside for days, as everyone knows, All-American. So I like him here. McCullough, I'm not really into at almost 8K. I don't usually get to him, and I think he's nursing I think he's still getting or being bothered by those back spasms. So on a slate, we've talked about a lot of good plays above 7K. I don't think I want to use a back spasm guy on day one of a tournament where they're expecting to go deep. I see some flimsiness in his minutes. If we get a blowout or like a big early lead, or the back acts up or something. And then I think KJ Adams is okay at 6'2", but probably won't be living in that range here. Colorado, UCLA. Colorado core play. Julian Hammond was a slam dunk today. Did they move his price down? He's at 4.4. Yeah, first guy in the lineup tomorrow. We were trying to find reasons to play him when he was a backup to KJ Simpson. KJ Simpson's out with mono. So they're just slamming Hammond with a ton of minutes, and I think he's just a no-brainer play, even in the tough matchup against UCLA. So this is a tougher matchup than they had today against Washington. Ethan Wright played more minutes than I thought he was going to. I think he's all right at 3.9, but probably don't want to play to Colorado against UCLA. So I'm probably gonna lock Hammond and just pass on the rest of this team. On the UCLA side, the massive news in the Pac-12 tournament: Jalen Clark out with the Achilles injury. 1 second. Which is huge for them and interesting for us for DFS. When we saw Amari Bailey out for a couple games earlier in the season, David Singleton is just going to slide right into that starting lineup and play 30-plus minutes right off the bat. So I like Singleton a good bit here. I like Bailey's price at 5.6. I think he might get overlooked. I would think that his minutes bump up here to around 30. He's definitely more risky just because of the minutes, but I like the upside at that price for Bailey. I think he's a nice tournament play. And then up top, Tiger at 7.1 is going to have to handle more of a scoring role without Clark around. I like that. He played his ass off down the stretch. We pull up his game logs here. Yeah, 4 straight 30-pluses down the stretch. The shot rate. So after that, I can't remember which game it was, but Cronin said that he just wasn't being aggressive enough, and he ends the season with 4 straight games with 10-plus shot attempts. So that's super encouraging. Steals are up. So really like Tiger Campbell in this spot. Man, there are just a ton of good plays on the slate. And then Jaquez, end of the season really, really well. 1, 2 in their last 10 games or so. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, like 6 or 7 over 40. And without Clark, the shot rate, the peripherals are going to go up. It's a steep ass price tag, but 18 shots in each of the last 2 games, max minutes, coming off a 22 and 10 double. I like Jaquez here. I think I would want UCLA maybe 1 plus on each team. Jaquez, Tiger, Bailey, and then Singleton, the value play at 4.8, coming off the 31 minutes against Arizona. He doesn't have the highest ceiling, but if the threes are falling, I think he's a good play here. Colorado, that projection is UCLA 71-61. So yeah, that even further hammers the point home that it's Hammond or pass on the Colorado side with that 61 team total. All right, we got 2 games left. I'm right around half an hour here, so I'll wrap up. Ole Miss, super frustrating to see 6,500 max price. Miles Burns is chalk tonight, get 6 steals. We don't have to worry about them tomorrow because they're playing Tennessee on a 12-game slate. Not a chance in the world I would roster an Ole Miss guy here. Although, let me check the spread. I've not looked at the spread yet. Try to do as much prep as I could on the lift ride over to the hotel. 11.5. That is wide for a 128 total. So low total here. So be careful. I think there's 2 guys in play for me on the Tennessee side. It's Vescovy. So the big news, obviously, Zakai Zeigler out with the ACL. So it's going to be Vescovy and Meshack, I think, for me on the Tennessee side. Vescovy at 7.4, coming off, I think, their first game without Zeigler. He played 39 minutes. So, yeah, a ton of minutes. Finally started to shoot more down the stretch and get the peripherals involved. I think he's a super safe play to get you 30 here. And then Meshack fouled out in 13 minutes against Auburn, which is kind of odd, but really, really played well down the stretch. I like him a lot at 4.3 to bounce right back to playing, 25 to 30 minutes. Very, very active out there. I can see the steals I can see him having like 2 to 3 steals in this game, which at 4-3 just gives you a great floor with upside for definitely more. Last game here, Wazoo, Oregon. Love Wazoo in this spot. You check the spread. Wazoo plus 2.5. I was kind of hoping to get more than that. I'll be on them in some way tomorrow, live or something like that. Mogi, destroyer of zones, but he's up at $9K now, which is a bit frustrating. He played really well against Oregon when they played a couple weeks ago. Let's see what he did. 18 and 12. Yeah. Just playing a ton of minutes. They blew out Cal today, so his minutes were kind of restricted, but man, he was so fucking good down the stretch. I think Mogi is interesting mainly as like a swap stud. So if you're down early and you've got Jaquez or you're sitting on Chris Murray or Jalen Wilson or something like that, and you want to get wacky, I think Mogi is fine. Besides that, I don't really have any interest in any of the other Wazoo guys. Maybe TJ Bamba against the zone. We saw him absolutely chuck in that Washington game. He took 20 shots. They also play a zone. He took 17 shots against Oregon when they played on February 19th. So, yeah, the peripherals are not going to be there, so the shots have got to fall. But at 6'6", I could definitely see Bamba getting there. But not like he's just not the type of player that I usually roster. But the upside's in there if the shots are going in. So, if you're playing that, I think it's a 90. I don't know if there's a queue on the early slate. I was scrolling through quickly, but definitely a tournament type of guy for Bamba. And then on the Oregon side, probably a full avoid. I really respect this Wazoo defense. Dante played well down the stretch. I think you could consider him at 8-4, but that price is kind of getting away from us. I don't really trust the guard rotation. Just on a slate where we've talked about teams condensing their rotations, Oregon plays 8 to 10 guys, and they really spread the minutes. So not that much interest in Oregon here, probably a full fade there. So yeah, that's the slate right at 33 minutes. So not bad. Kurt's going to have a playbook. I'm not sure which slate he's doing the playbook for. I'll talk to him in the morning. Would actually make sense if he did the one for later, since we had this content for the early slate. So I will have a core up on the site. I'll be in Discord as much as I can. We'll be bouncing around the book, making bets, and I'm going to try to fire as many of the bets that we make here as a group into the Discord so you guys can follow along, bet if you want. But that's it for me. I will see you guys tomorrow bright and early. Slate locks at 9 a.m. Local time here, so I will be up early. I'll be back tomorrow night with the same type of video. But for now, I will see you later. Signing off from the Strip.